Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at your bank account and thought, where did all my money go? You work hard, you get paid. Bills get covered. You're not reckless. You're not buying yachts. But somehow, your net worth barely moves. Maybe you have a few thousand saved. Maybe $10,000. Maybe even $30,000. But $100,000. That number feels far away. And here's the strange part. You know people who earn roughly the same income as you. Yet somehow they crossed 6 figures in net worth years ago. So what's the difference? Are they just lucky? Do they make way more money? Or is something else going on? Look, here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't stay under $100,000 because they earn too little. They stay there because of a handful of invisible habits that quietly drain their financial progress. Habits that feel normal, reasonable, even responsible, but over time, they trap you financially. Today, we're going to break down 7 money habits that keep people stuck under a $100,000 net worth. And more importantly, how to fix them. Because once you understand these patterns, 6 figures becomes a lot more predictable. Habit 1. Living paycheck to paycheck. Even with a good income, living paycheck to paycheck isn't just a low-income problem anymore. According to a 2023 report from Lending Club, about 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And get this, almost half of people earning over $100,000 a year say they're still paycheck to paycheck, which sounds insane. But when you look closer, it makes perfect sense. Because the problem isn't income, it's margin. Let me explain. Imagine 2 people. Person B earns $100,000 per year. But person A spends $45,000. Person B spends $95,000. Who builds wealth faster? Person A. Even though they earn $40,000 less. Here's what most people don't realize. Wealth isn't built from income. It's built from the gap between income and lifestyle. If that gap is small, your net worth barely moves. And this is why some people stay stuck under $100,000 for decades. They increase income, but expenses grow at the exact same speed. Which leads us to the second habit. Habit 2, lifestyle inflation. Look, you get a raise. What happens? You upgrade. Nicer apartment, better car, more takeout, better vacations. And none of those things are inherently bad. The problem is when every raise disappears into lifestyle upgrades. Let's do some quick math. Imagine you get a $10,000 raise. After taxes, maybe you keep $7,000. Now imagine you invest that $7,000 every year at an 8% return after 20 years. That becomes roughly $320,000. But if lifestyle inflation eats that raise, your net worth barely changes. This is why 2 people earning the same salary can have wildly different financial futures. One upgrades their lifestyle, the other upgrades their assets. And that brings us to habit number 3. Habit 3. Waiting too long to invest. Now you might be thinking, Kelvin, I'll start investing once I have more money. Fair. But here's where the math gets brutal. Let's compare 2 people. Person A starts investing $300 per month at age 25. Person B starts investing $600 per month at age 35. Twice the contribution. But guess what? By age 65, person A still ends up with more money. Why? Compound interest. According to historical market data, the S&P 500 averages about 8 to 10% annually over long periods. And compounding is basically financial gravity. Time multiplies money. Delay destroys it. This is where it gets really interesting. The biggest wealth advantage isn't intelligence. It's time in the market, which leads to the next mistake. Habit 4. Treating saving like a leftover. Most people save like this. They earn money. They spend money. And whatever's left, they save. Which usually means nothing. But wealthy people reverse the process. They save first, then spend what remains. It's a tiny shift, but psychologically it's massive. Because once savings are automated, you remove willpower from the equation. For example, if $500 automatically goes into investments every month, you adapt your lifestyle around the remaining income, not the other way around. Automation turns wealth building into a system instead of a decision, and systems beat motivation every time. Habit 5. Avoiding financial education. Here's something fascinating. The National Financial Educators Council estimates that financial illiteracy costs Americans over $400 billion annually. Think about that. Hundreds of billions lost simply because people never learned how money works. And look, school doesn't teach this. Compound interest, index funds, tax efficiency, debt strategy. None of that is explained clearly. So most people just copy what everyone else is doing, which is dangerous because the average financial behavior in society leads to debt, low savings, and delayed retirement. Here's what most people don't realize. Learning basic finance isn't about becoming a Wall Street expert. It's about avoiding expensive mistakes. And one of the most common mistakes is habit number 6. Habit 6, carrying high-interest debt. Credit card interest is brutal. The average credit card interest rate today is around 20%, which means something simple. If you carry a $5,000 balance, you might be paying $1,000 per year in interest alone. Now compare that to investing. The stock market might average 8% returns, but your credit card charges 20% interest. That means paying off credit cards gives you a guaranteed 20% return, which is mathematically incredible. Yet many people ignore this, because psychologically, debt feels normal. Everyone has it. But the reality, high-interest debt acts like a hole in your financial bucket. You keep pouring money in, but it leaks out. And finally, the 7th habit. Habit 7. Believing wealth requires huge income. This belief quietly destroys motivation. People assume wealth requires 6-figure salaries, but the data tells a different story. According to Fidelity retirement studies, consistent investors earning average incomes still reach million-dollar retirement accounts. Why? Because consistency beats intensity. Let's say someone invests $400 per month at an 8% return. For 30 years, that becomes about $600,000. Increase that to $700 per month. Now you're approaching $1 million, not because of income spikes, but because of discipline and time. This is why wealth often feels slow at first, then suddenly inevitable. The bigger pattern. Let's zoom out for a second. Every habit we talked about today connects to one core principle: financial momentum. At first, progress feels invisible. Saving the first $10,000 feels hard. $25,000 feels far away, but somewhere around $50,000 to $100,000, something changes. Your investments start producing real growth. At an 8% return, $100,000 generates $8,000 per year without you doing anything. And that's when the game flips. Your money starts working with you, not just sitting there. The psychological shift. Here's what most people don't realize. Wealth building is less about math and more about identity. Your decisions change automatically. You stop impulse spending. You think about opportunity cost. You negotiate salary more confidently. And suddenly, your net worth starts climbing. Not because you became a financial genius, but because your habits changed. A simple action plan. All right, let's make this practical. If your net worth is under $100,000 right now, here's a simple plan. Step 1, create margin. Aim to save 15 to 20% of your income. Step 2, eliminate high-interest debt. Anything above 10% interest is a priority. Step 3, automate investments. Set up automatic transfers every month. Step 4, invest in low-cost index funds. Simple, diversified, proven over decades. Step 5, increase income slowly. Raises, skill upgrades, or job changes. Raises, skill upgrades, or job changes. But keep lifestyle inflation under control. Follow these steps consistently, and 6 figures becomes a milestone, not a miracle. Final motivation. Look, if you're under $100,000 in net worth right now, you're not failing. You're just early in the process. Because the first phase of wealth building is slow, painfully slow. But once the systems are in place, progress accelerates, momentum builds, and one day you check your net worth and think, wait, when did that happen? That's the power of consistency plus time. So here's my question for you. Be honest. Where are you right now? Under $10,000? Between $10,000 and $100,000? Or already past six figures? Drop it in the comments. I read them all. And if this video helped you think differently about money, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Because once you understand how wealth actually works, you stop playing the wrong game and start building real financial freedom.